Happy holiday, peacemakers. I see you down there, Simone. Kick everything. Heck the dark here.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and power. Peace, peace, peace. How are you? Happy holiday.
I'm doing well. Happy holiday. How you doing?
All is well here. Having a very, very productive day. Glad to get us started. Just opening up. Had to share the room real quick before I go ahead and come off the mic. I ain't want to be on the mic today sharing the room, so I went ahead and did a pre-share.
Gotta get it in.
Everything. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I still ain't got my tones in the background yet, but I'm working on that so where we can have the
I sent
meditations
you the
in the
video
back.
on how to get that done.
What you mean? You sent me a video?
Mm-hmm. That was a few months
On
ago.
what?
IG?
You talking about how to put it on Clubhouse?
Yeah.
I gotta go back and look at that. You mean like Club Deck, huh?
It might have been like the first or second message that I ever sent.
Okay, I gotta go check that.
Yeah.
Was it about Club Deck?
I forget. I just remember seeing how they incorporated the background and the audio and brought the two as one on one platform. So just look it up.
Okay, I'm gonna check that out because I know I downloaded Club Deck. I just haven't started using it yet. Cause I don't know. I think I didn't. I don't know if I signed up with a phone number or what on here. So I gotta check into that. All right. Spirits acting up at you. But let me go ahead and get to the opening and get us started. Thank you for coming through, sister. Mom, we got
I said I
sure
wasn't gonna miss today.
Oh man, thank you. I as usual, I go straight off to what, ancestors tell me touch on. Last week we had a powerful channeling come through. But mainly it's been just consistent on kind of what me and you were talking about a couple weeks ago about just the nationality thing and how much confusion is out here. Let me pull up these documents. It's getting cold. Is it cold where y'all at? Yeah.
It was like almost 80 degrees today. The weather has been crazy.
Shoot, it
And we had a
rained here.
tornado watch.
And y'all had a tornado watch? Well,
For like 2 hours. It was like looking dark during the daytime.
well, yeah, it's starting to get dark early here, like real early, like 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock almost, dang now. But this rain today, it rained to today, just like 2 hours ago. It really brought in a cold, chill front. It's like you felt the cold coming through with the rain. Cause
Exactly.
before that, it was like warm. Before that happened, it was like kind of, you know, easy breezy California weather.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden,
I watched this video that was talking about we have two poles. I didn't know that. We have the North and South Pole, and we have the magnetic poles, and the magnetic
oh yeah.
are moving
Uh-huh.
and changing the polarity of the Earth.
Right. Yeah. Uh-huh.
I did not know that. I just found that out this week. So maybe it's like
Hold on. So you never heard about the pole shift?
I heard, but I thought it was like the North and South Pole. I was like, oh my God, the world's going upside down, but it's the magnetic pole.
Yeah, because we tilted at a 20-degree axis. So kind of also why a lot of more people are right-handed than left-handed people, because we kind of slightly flip to the left, to the right. But yeah, that's great. I, you never seen the movie 2012? I think they talked about it in the movie.
If I did, I saw it when it came out and forgot about it.
Yeah, that was like so long ago. It was, I think it was talking about that in the movie because like how everything got cold, where it was like hot at and everything got, I don't know if it got hot where, like it was cold at, but I know everything like flip. It was showing you like a big flip on there. That was the whole point of 2012, like the whole polar shift thing and all the earthquakes and stuff like that going on. They talking about that polar shift.
Okay,
Yeah, you might want to go back and watch it because that's exactly what that was about.
will do.
Yeah, from I'm gonna open us up with this divine supplication, and we're gonna get it started. Oh, like I said, I wish I had these tones in the background. I don't know if y'all can hear my background, but I got the good wind, good spirits in the background. Like I said, it's a little chilly, so y'all gonna have to bear with me. I can't see the screen right now, because I'm looking at these PDFs. But let's open us up. You know how this go. Begin our prayers and thinking by using the all prayer of the Ansars. O Heavenly One, the Most High, who is sustainer of all the worlds, we do accept the duty you have laid on us to clean up the filth made by the Westerners' non-submitting fools. O my sustainer, we beseech you to keep your hand over us, to control the strings of the courses of our lives. Our sustainer, and if we do wrong, please show thy divine blessings and forgiveness on us. You are the only one that can raise us true followers of the news bearers, and in thy name we carry on. All right, y'all. I got Sister Simone here. You can hold down the fort while I do the opening in case somebody come in on stage, because I'm not going to get a chance to see whoever comes in while I'm reading. Um, but we're going to jump to these 19 affirmations. These are our daily affirmations. What we accept is fact, the loyalty of the children of the Elohim. If you need a copy of this, let me go ahead and pin the link to the school up here so you guys could get that. You can get these documents that I'm reading by the joining the temple and our global education system. And we offer 2 free courses, Civics 101 as well as Currency 101, but that's another topic for another day. But we would love for y'all to join us in the Civics 101 course, which is free for all temple members to join, learn about your temple nationality, and learn how to link yourself with the family of nations. So with that, I'll go into these affirmations, and yeah, and then I'll give my honors, and we'll go into the divine constitution after that. So let's get it started. What we accept is fact, the eternal laws of nature, as revealed through science, past events, logic, and common sense, revealed as right knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. We accept as fact the highest laws of nature is the cooperation and harmony of all living things. We accept as fact our way of life as a means to the best end. We accept as fact that loyalty is the greatest of all honors and treason is the worst of all crimes. We accept as fact that what is good for the Holy Tabernacle is the highest virtue, and what is bad for the Holy Tabernacle is the ultimate evil. We accept as fact that the Holy Tabernacle is the finest and noblest organization for all humanity, created by circumstances, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek is the noblest of fraternities on and above this planet. We accept as fact that creativity, love, and cooperation are the essence of success. We accept this fact that truth and facts are always and has always been the originator and creator of all success. We accept this fact that all worthwhile cultures and civilizations came about from the ancient Sumerians and Kamite Egyptians and the Anunnaki, or Elohims from the heavens without which there would be none. We accept this fact that for the Holy Tabernacle to survive, expand, and advance, we need, first of all, a revolution of values, which must start within each person by being truthful with themselves and about themselves. Therefore, we completely and categorically reject all myths, fictions, religions, and lies that have not been proven. That would include your heavens, your hells, your hellfire, and brimstones, your horn and pitchfork devils, your winged angels, and your old man God character sitting on the throne up there somewhere. We deal strictly with facts. If you can't prove it, we don't want to hear it. That doesn't mean we won't listen to you. Just don't expect us to accept your beliefs by virtue of a title such as Reverend, Pastor, Deacon, Imam, Sheik, Rabbi, Minister, Theologian, etc. That is your sensationalism, and we deal with just the facts. We accept this fact that the only true revolution is a war of good against evil, right against wrong, fairness against unfairness, loyalty against disloyalty, sincerity against insincerity, honesty against dishonesty, and this war is fought within each person among the agreeable and disagreeable Elohims that make up your willpower. We accept this fact that the unity of our community and its success will only happen with cooperation with all involved. We accept this fact that the total unification of all humanity on the basis of truth, that is, accepting people and races for who and what they are, respecting their culture, their languages, and their beliefs, and expect the same. We accept this fact that the human race, its biological and cultural heritage, is now under attack by our own morals, our self righteousness, our desire to control industry, and these things attack the very existence of humanity. We accept this fact that males as well as females are equal in all things and should be dealt with as partners in all matters. We accept this fact that no one race of people is better than the other. In fact, no one wins the race in racism. We accept this fact that communication between different people is the cure to the ignorance that breeds the disease hate. We accept this fact that a good and well-rounded education could prevent most of the ignorance that plagues the world. We accept this fact that the all is just that, the all. You can't take from the all, you can't add to the all. We are all within the all as one. That is our concept of what you call a deity. To the fulfillment of these facts, we children of the Elohim forever pledge our lives, our sacred honor, and our spiritual zeal. And with that, like I said, I want to give honors to the prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. I want to give honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Honorable Marcus Garvey, as well as the messenger. I want to give honors to the messenger, Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as well as the other leaders that came after and kept the message alive and growing. So I want to give honors to Brother C.M. Bay. Also honors to the Grand Sheik Meli El. Also honors given to Brother H.I.M Bay, and also honors given to the master teacher, Dr. Malachi Z. York L. All right, all right. So with that, let's jump into the divine constitution and this prayer. Y'all know how this go. We're gonna do this divine prayer first. 2 fingers up, 5 fingers up, facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. All right. With that, before I go into this divine constitution, you said something, sister?
I said amen.
Oh, amen. I'm in right. All right, so before we go into this divine constitution, y'all, I want to go ahead and do a reset real quick. That way, y'all know who we are. We are World Temple, Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and we are teaching our people their nationality and how to come and link themselves with the family of nations. Like I said, we are Branch Temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and we're teaching our people their divine creed. Our full name is the World Temple of Qur'an, so we are a body of the anointed ones. And if you are looking for a temple home for all the Moorish Moorish people that are out there that don't have a temple body that they could call home, you guys are free. You guys and gals are free to join us here on Clubhouse every Friday and every Sunday where we do our newcomers gathering. So if you are a newcomer, please return back on Sunday that at 6 p.m. Central Time. That way you can learn how to get involved and learn the Temple 101s and divine creed and information that is needed for your travels and your navigation through this holy sea of commerce that we all live in called planet Earth. So, with that, I'm going to jump into the divine constitution and bylaws from the Moorish Science Temple of America. Y'all know how it go. Act 1. The Grand Sheik and the chairman of the Moorish Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the Moorish Science Temple of America. The assistant Grand Sheik is to assist the Grand Sheik in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is the holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America. No member is to put in danger or accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister, because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws and constitutions of the said government, but to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality, and we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed that they may know that they are a part and parcel of this said government and know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, black people, or Ethiopians because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era of time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained noble Drew Ali the prophet to redeem his people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabited the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you are entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of the uplifting of humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father God Allah. Islam, y'all. True peace. So this week, when I go into these readings, we're gonna open up the Holy Quran, Circle 7, and we're gonna jump on chapter 25 first, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation. But this week I want to really touch on, more in depth about this divine unity that we went into last week, and just kind of bring it home, especially with us going into the economic situations that we're all facing, because we truly have to understand the difference, between that, that there is active Moors, as the prophet called out for, across the world. And wherever you are, you should be trying to get close to those active Moors, especially in these times that we are in, because as the prophet mentioned throughout the literature, Moors are active. We're not passive. And so, uh, though we want to have passive income, which is a whole nother thing, but it's, still similar. Um, we want to be active, and you want to get yourself surrounded by people who are active in the spirit and doing the great works, because faith without work, y'all, is truly, truly dead. So, with that, we're going to go into chapter 25, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation. And it reads, Ye are the children of one father, provided for by his care, and the breast of one mother had given you suck. Let the bonds of affection therefore unite thee with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And when ye separate in the world, remember the relation that bindeth you to love and unity, and prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. If thy brother is in adversity, assist him. If thy sister is in trouble, forsake her not. So shall the fortunes of thy father contribute to the support of his race, and his care be continued to you all in your love to each other. All right, all right, all right. So that's chapter 25, which is, drilling it, bringing it home, making it plain and simple, unity. And in these times, typically where, most people wouldn't know what to call it, far as, what we're dealing with. Some consider it a depression. Some consider it a recession. However you want to look at it, we understand that a we're going through a industrial revolution. So we're living in revolutionary times, and you want to get and study. You want to study what happened before in history, because during these times, especially in past recessions in this country, it's a time where there's great economic upheaval, and you want to put yourself in a proper position. So, like I said, you want to get yourself surrounded by active Moors. So, with that, we're gonna go to chapter 47 and chapter 48, and we're gonna jump into that for our weekly reading, and then kind of skim through these divine instructions, especially about what I'm saying here, with getting yourself surrounded by some active Moors. Chapter 47 is called Egypt, the capital empire of the Dominion of Africa. And it reads, The inhabitants of Africa are the descendants of the ancient Canaanites from the land of Canaan. Old man Cush and his family are the first inhabitants of Africa who came from the land of Canaan. His father Ham and his family were second. Then came the word Ethiopia, which means the demarcation line of the dominion of Amexem, the first true and divine name of Africa, the dividing of the land between the father and the son. The dominion of Cush, northeast and southeast Africa, and northwest and southwest, was his father's dominion of Africa. In later years, many of their brethren from Asia and the Holy Lands joined them. The Moabites from the land of Moab, who received permission from the pharaohs of Egypt to settle and inhabit northwest Africa, they were the founders and all the true possessors of the present Moroccan Empire, with their Canaanite, Hittite, and Amorite brethren, who sovereign from the land homes. Their dominion and inhabitation extended north, east, and southwest Africa, across Great Atlantis, even unto the present North, South, and Central America, and also Mexico and the Atlantis Islands, before the great earthquake which caused the great Atlantic Ocean. The river Nile was dredged and made by the ancient pharaohs of Egypt in order to trade with the surrounding kingdoms. Also, the Niger River was dredged by the great pharaoh of Egypt in those ancient days for trade, and it extends eastward from the river Nile, westward across the great Atlantic. It was used for trade and transportation. According to all true and divine records of the human race, there is no Negro, black, or colored race attached to the human family, because all inhabitants of Africa were and are of the human race, descendants of the ancient Canaanite nation from the Holy Land of Canaan. What your ancient forefathers were, you are today without doubt or contradiction. There is no one who is able to change man from the descendant nature of his forefathers unless his power extend beyond the great universal creator Allah himself. These holy and divine laws are from the prophet Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Uniting of the Moorish Science Temple of America. These laws are to be strictly preserved by all members of the temples of the Moorish Temple of America, that they will learn to open their meeting and guide it according to the principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Every subordinate temple of the Grand Major Temple is to form under the covenant of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, and to create their own laws and customs in conjunction with the laws of the Holy Prophet and the Grand Temple. I, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, was sent by the great God Allah to warn all Asiatics of America to repent from their sinful ways before that great and awful day that is sure to come. The time has come when every nation must worship under its own vine and fig tree, and every tongue must confess its own. Through sin and disobedience, every nation has suffered slavery due to the fact that they honor not the creed and principles of their forefathers. That is why the nationality of the Moors was taken away from them in 1774, and the word Negro, black, and colored was given to the Asiatics of America who were of Moorish descent, because they honored not the principles of their mother and father and strayed after the gods of Europe, of whom they knew nothing. So, in these days, as we getting closer to that great and dreadful day, as the prophet would call it, you want to be around some active Moors, especially active in spirit, and got their head in the books at this time. Because, like I say, this repetition, it might be boring to some, but for those that understand, every time we read, we're getting something new. And truly, 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 we do. This is not just, boring for us to go over the same, verses in the same scripts. And as you can tell, when somebody's actually active in the divine spirit, they're able to extract what is needed and convey it to the people, to the congregation of these temples, and really take hold of the messages that come through whenever their hands touch that divine word. So with that, let's go into chapter 48, called The End of Times and the Fulfilling of the Prophecies. And it reads, the last prophet in these days is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared divinely in due time by Allah to redeem man from their sinful ways and to warn them of the great wrath which is sure to come upon the earth. John the Baptist was the forerunner of Jesus in those days to warn and stir up the nation and prepare them to receive the divine creed, which was to be taught by Jesus. In these modern days, there came a forerunner of Jesus who was divinely prepared by the great God Allah, and his name is Marcus Garvey, who did teach and warn the nations of the earth to prepare to meet the coming prophet, who was to bring the true and divine creed of Islam, and his name is Noble Drew Ali, who was prepared and sent to this earth by Allah to teach the old time religion and the everlasting gospels to the sons of man, that every nation shall and must worship and return to their own and be one with their Father God Allah. The Moorish Temple of America is a lawfully chartered and incorporated organization. Any subordinate temple that desires to receive a charter, the Prophet has them to issue to every state throughout the United States, etc., that the world may hear and know the truth, that among the descendants of Africa there is still much wisdom to be learned in these days for the redemption of the sons of man under love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. We, as a clean and pure nation descended from the inhabitants of Africa, do not desire to amalgamate or marry into the families of the pale-skinned nations of Europe, neither serve the gods of their religion, because our forefathers are the true and divine founders of the first religious creed for the redemption and salvation of mankind on earth. Therefore, we are returning the church and Christianity back to the European nations as it was prepared by their forefathers for their earthly salvation, while we Moorish Americans are returning to Islam, which was founded by our forefathers for our earthly and divine salvation. The covenant of the great God Allah, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be longer upon the earth land, which the Lord thy God Allah had given thee. Come all ye Asiatics of America and hear the truth about your nationality and birthrights, because you are not Negroes. Learn of your forefathers' ancient and divine creed, that you will learn to love instead of hate. We are trying to uplift fallen humanity. Come and link yourself with the family of nations. We honor all true and divine prophets. And like I said, y'all, that rings so clearly. Come get with the active Moors. Come link yourself with the family of nations. We are going into the fall season. If we haven't been in it already, but it's looking like fall because all these leaves is falling to the ground. Uh, but yeah, Kanye West, and brother Kyrie and others, have been having the internet on fire due to this whole status thing, and talking about the status of us as indigenous peoples, and not to jump too ahead into the current events of things, but this is kind of what we want to touch on this week, because this is what's been actually coming through by way of spirit. And you know we've been past 22 days with the whole Kanye West situation, and now is others that are stepping up and getting involved. But as we read in the literature every week, um which I'm about to jump to so we can touch on it. But as we read in the literature, one of the literaries that the prophet wrote states, this is your problem, the Negro problem. So only people that could deal with this issue is us as a people, and not subjecting ourselves to the multifaceted forms of slavery that we have been through and continue to fall victim to, because we stand down from having the knowledge that's needed to stand on. So the brother Kanye has really been dropping a lot of clues for y'all, through some of his interviews, though many might not agree with him, and whether you agree with the brother Kanye West or not, it's still the points that he is making is very clear, and from what I done heard so far, are very sound, especially about knowing our history and knowing who we are, and understanding that we have a responsibility in this role ourselves, especially economically, and just taking upon that responsibility. This is why I'm saying get yourself surrounded by people who are active, active in the works, because as we touched on last week, especially a little bit about just the way our communities are supposed to operate in you know in divine communion. We are far from the practical understanding that we need, and we went over that 2 or 3 holy days ago about the practicality of spirituality, because a lot of our people are just going with the wind. And not to say it's not okay to be a free and liberated spirit, but I think we're getting these concepts mixed up due to the semantic jargon of what each individual person might think these definitions or what these words might mean. And so we really have to understand, like I mentioned, spirit comes with laws, spirit comes with ordinances, rules, and discipline. You have to understand the practicality of spirituality, and not so much lose yourself, because for some people spirituality means sexual liberation or other forms of liberation, and they lose all groundedness with understanding that spirit quickens the flesh. So if the word, as we understand it, the divine word is has become flesh, which you are a part of that as well. You are an embodiment of divine nature. You are representation of that divine spirit in the flesh. Now whether you choose to honor those divine laws and respect the laws of nature, that's solely up to you. That is between you and the divine creator. um that really has nothing to do with other people. But as a people, as a community, who we are, this solely has to deal with us. And you know,
Can I say
as
something
we
on that?
go ahead.
I was watching a video on the Native Americans, and there was one native named Tecumseh, and
Right.
he had a brother who was like a black sheep but became a spiritual leader. Long story short, um, they were very adamant about not changing their customs and their practices and their wardrobe or losing the native tongue, because they said that once we start losing these pillars, those pillars are the pillars for like the foundation of who we are. And
Mhm.
they started to cast out members because they were dressing in the colonizers' wardrobe or whatever. It was really sad to me because also the Seminole Indians, they had a very large territory in Florida and southern areas, like Alabama, and
Yep.
it was President Andrew Jackson. Once they had, conquered the 13 colonies, they realized that, there could be a lot of trade out of Florida. So they started to hunt the Native Americans. And it was really sad because it basically showed a people who were willing to fight to the end to uphold the pillars, which were their language, their farming, their clothing, all of everything that they knew for like generations and probably centuries and centuries, millions of centuries probably going on, because they were already established before Europeans got there. And what's going on nowadays is the aftermath of that. The Native Americans, their identity was changed from native to black, and a lot of culture was lost. The saddest part about it was it ended in the Trail of Tears, where they fought and they fought and they fought to keep their homes, but the government was like, we need your space, and if you don't leave within a certain period of time, we're going to force you to leave. And the aftermath is the culture is very hard to find now, as far as the essence of the strength of the beginning. You know what I mean? And so I think that what you're talking about is the problem with African Americans is we the identity is the main issue. Who am I really? If you really don't know, if you're royal and you don't know it, then you may potentially, you know, walk in a manner that's not royal. You know what I mean? You never really kind of reach for those things. You never really have those desires. Some you can't really break that bond, but at the end of the day, it's a tragedy when one's culture is erased. And that is the suffering of our people, is that there's so many people that don't know who they are or where to begin outside of ancestry.com. But at the end of the day, they're they're storehousing all of this data about who we are, and you know what I mean? They're trying to find our lineage while we're trying to find our lineage. You know what I mean?
Right.
Potentially to defeat, you know what I mean? The potential greatness that has been prophesized to come to pass. Excuse me. And so best can eat. Because right now, society doesn't even understand that they're digesting artificial food and they're digesting artificial energy. You know what I mean? We don't really go too far without our cell phones or laptops or, you know what I mean? So there's a direct connection to this artificial, which is opposite of who we were as a people. And so to correct this disease, we've got to come back and be grounded again. We have to come back to source, and we have to let go of everything that's artificial and just come back to everything that's real and natural, because it was very sustainable long ago. It was long ago. It was very sustainable.
Fact, fact.
That's all I got for now.
Nah. Thank you for that contribution, though, because it really drives it home. Like, how was you, in the past, how was you wiping your butt? How was we delivering? What were we using before we heard of Johnson and Johnson and Charmin? Um, so I'm really glad you woke that point up because these are things I touched on last Holy Day, especially about the identity portion because who we are, we have that misconstrued it, especially with understanding that we as Moors, they replaced the word Moor with the word Indian, and so we gain our full sovereignty, standing as Moors, as the indigenous, as the natives, as the so-called American Indian. All of that comes with the embodiment of being, under the international treaties and things that we have already put into place that that doesn't leave us in subjection. And the identity part, you really brought it home because um on our last, I was talking about what happened on one of our last family days, and this sister, she was saying, well, how do you become a well, she was not saying become, but she was stating, she was making a statement, I'm sorry, that she's not a Moor. And I asked her, when you look in a mirror, it triggered me to say, what do you look in the mirror, what do you see when you see yourself in the mirror? Are you pale skin, or what do you see when you look in the mirror? Do you see a melanated being? And she was like, of course, I'm melanated. So, I'm like, well, just by natural understanding, when you look at yourself and you see your pigmentation, you're automatically moros or more. You don't um, become a Moor, you're born a Moor. And I took it back to to the scriptures last week because a lot of us either run into a lot of these temples that don't explain, these things, or you have temples that are not really, doing what the prophet pretty much ordained for us to do, which is, teach the everlasting gospel. So we have to go into the scriptures. So I took them into the scriptures and, really, read the scripture portion about, being born again in the spirit and water, holy water, as some would consider it. But you cannot become a Moor. You are born one. You are born indigenous. You are born what you are. But through time and the manipulation and the so-called powers that used to be, um, have really done a number of work on our people to where they have no understanding of who they are. It's an identity crisis thing going on real deeply. And so we, we forget that, this is something that we truly already understand. It's just, you know, the 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 lack of our unity, as I was touching on earlier, the lack of that, and just being properly guided spiritually, because a lot of these temples, they run away from keeping the divine law at the forefront of of the structure of their temple. And we're supposed to bring the everlasting gospels. This is what we are on the mission of. This is in the document called our authority, that we read to people when they join the temple. So the first thing that they should understand is that, especially when we say we honor all divine prophets, is that we're standing on these sacred laws, these sacred teachings, and we have evidence of the divine information that we carry on, generation to generation. But of course, just being in the spiritual structures of the European or Canaanites, however you want to look at it, um, we forgot the full quantum of us as a people. And it's also, like I said earlier, the spirit quickening the body. And you know you got to test the spirits, and that's the purpose for us, going through these things. Some people might, like I say, see it from other spiritual disciplines and say, nature is not going to put you through these things, but or divine nature is not going to put you through these things. But nature shows evidence of the omission of those type of statements, because the fact is, there is, the food chain, and other things that already give grounded proof that life is going to challenge you, nature is going to challenge you to stand up and be strong, be a person of uh tenor and nobility, and regal, and a man of stature, a man and woman of stature. And that comes with having to know how to fight your battles, especially utilizing the divine spirit. And one of these issues is solely relating to us standing up for ourselves and learning how to wrestle with the spirit, wrestle with temptation. This is where the whole point of discipline comes into effect. And so the lack of discipline will cause, which is what we have when uh you're being destroyed. We're destroyed for the lack of knowledge, which means the lack of discipline. Because action, like I said earlier, you want to get yourself surrounded by active Moors, because action is showing that you're doing the divine work. Because the faith without the work, without the action, is dead. So you have to step up, you have to overcome by taking action. That is what applied knowledge actually is. That is what
And
knowledge actually is.
yes,
Go ahead.
and the
Go ahead. No.
distractions are a example of the oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, no, 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 no. You said the lack of discipline. That's what I was gonna say. The lack of discipline is the reflection of the distraction, the level of distraction, right? So if you really wanted to do something but you couldn't do something, then look at the distraction that you have. Or it could be a level of comfort. You're so comfortable that you've become lazy, that you're not doing A, B, C, and D. You're not executing, you're not getting things done, you're not being productive. And the lack of productivity could come potential but don't have the knowledge and don't know where to begin. And during my studies, I realized that back in the day, spirituality was on the rank of royalty. You had a spiritual relationship because you had money or royalty for a period of time. They were able to impoverish people by keeping or withholding knowledge from people. And the greatest knowledge is being able to tap into self in that spiritual realm within. And so that dysfunction comes from the comfort. That dysfunction comes from the imbalance of knowing how to prioritize the morals, right? Because if you don't put your mother,
That's right.
like if you don't honor your mother and father, your moral code, like where's your moral compass? So to fix the solution, or like to fix the problem, excuse me, is to help people to regain a moral compass and to remind them to honor their mothers and fathers and their foremothers and their forefathers, because we actually solved this equation once before, probably many times before. We probably got to the point where we realized that, you know what, I can fix this. I can do it. God helps those that help themselves. Instead of, I need social services, I need help, I need someone to fix my problem. Doctor, am I okay? Am I going to make it? Am I going to live? Or lawyer, can you get me out? We need those two, because we cannot do for ourselves. This is a level of comfort. Come to the land of milk and honey, where you don't have to learn the law. You can have someone learn it for you and get you off. Come to the land of milk and honey, and you don't have to grow your own herbal garden for your own healing. You can go to the storehouse and get it and don't have to work for it. Now we don't have to work for it, which is a reflection of comfort. The comfort can kill you. This means laziness, not doing for self. This is a reflection of giving or losing hope, stamina, you know what I mean? So the people have been conditioned and weakened for a period of time, mentally and physically, due to the comforts of the fast food window. I no longer have to cook. I no longer have to tend to my sheep. There is a system built into this luxury of milk and honey, where I don't have to do for myself anymore. Let someone else drive. You know what I mean? So then you get to a point of autopilot. But who's driving?
That's right.
Who's driving? So then the direction is not being aware that someone else is driving and you thought you were driving. Being born into sin and someone else is driving. Being born into sin and someone else is driving. Man, how do you get out of that? You can only get out of it through God, which is within, which means you are the solution, because God's got to work through you. Here's why. God is the root, like a tree, and the root creates the trunk, and through the trunk there are vines
That's
Our
right.
presence, our presence is a seed. I'm planting a seed right now.
Talk
So,
about it.
in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. And so, if we're made in the image, we can speak to the mountains, and the mountains will move because the power of Word. I just saw, because I watch technology a lot, I just saw the new invention of how to extinguish a fire. Instead of exhausting oneself by gathering water and transporting water, you can invent a piece of technology that will use vibration. Basically, they invented a piece of technology that used sound to eliminate large fires. Check this out. Happy birthday. What do we do? Come on now. So then it becomes common sense. Then we're like, oh my God, I'm having this big aha moment. And when you find these solutions, you find that they're very simple. It's because we're living artificially. And then when we come back to reality, we're like amazed that the breath of vibration can eliminate fire through thought. Through thought, we are able to create the invention, and through the invention, we're able to extinguish the fire. So it is the seed, it is the root, it is the trunk, it is the vine, and it is the fruit, all connected. The neural network, the interconnection, that is that is like our reflection. So the exciting part is once we get it, we can definitely fix it because we're connected. And then it'll just kind of like trickle down. But we got to plant the right seeds, right?
That's right. That's right.
So that's why we're here today. That's why we still show up. That's why the message has lasted for so long. So many seeds to be like, oh my goodness. So many warnings, so many seeds, so many manifestations, so many possibilities. Because the opposite of it is there potentially could be so many devastations, so many realms of negativity. So the positivity has to be able to outweigh the negativity. Positivity has to outweigh the negativity. Me personally, I've been in a situation that was pretty negative, and during the dark storm, and while the room was dense, low vibrating energy, and while I felt depleted, I still showed up and just was like, and I took the little bit that I had, and I gave, hey, good morning, everything's good, yes, we can. Oh boy, you know what I mean? But while
Yes,
I was saying
man.
these things, I'm coming from an empty tank. Okay. So that's called faith, right? Because I know that if I just walk in positivity and I represent the light of goodness, those are positive seeds which will create the roots, which will manifest the trunk, which will grow the stems and the leaves, which will leave the fruit for the next generation. Ashe.
Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. I'm glad you said because that's exactly what we're doing here. These these temple services all recorded, and people get to come back and reflect on our words. That's really the beauty of it, because we truly are planting seeds that do grow. I want to read this plea from the prophet to the nation because it touches on everything we've been touching on here tonight so gracefully. And thank you for that powerful measure. Truly. True Peace, brother Mo Islam. You want to chime in? Make a contribution before I go into the to the plea. We just wanted to check in with you, tap in with you, see how you're doing on your end. All's well, brother. I don't know if you can hear me, no, Mo. Give him some time to come back to the mic. Yeah, just unmute if you can hear me whenever you're ready. I'm gonna go ahead and read this plea from the prophet. Go ahead, no. I hear
True,
you.
true peace.
Peace. True
Yeah, I just
peace.
want to comment, on what I heard so far. From the measures, a very powerful measure from the sister, and I can really relate to that. How one can, it's like you feel like your energy is drained, and you just, you kind of get stuck. And as far as the spirituality, what she's saying, we all do need that. I mean, one can get stuck. It can seem like a person's not doing anything. They're not really fulfilling their purpose. They're not working on a purpose. And that's really not living, you know. So to be able to recognize what is going on and see that and then make some changes and some improvements to get back on the right track and start moving again and start living again like a true human being. So I felt that measure. And my contribution, I just want to say happy holy day. Apologize for being late. And having a lot of stuff going and trying to get me together, working on my healing and stuff like that. And as far as my thoughts and everything, is that things are getting better, healing, and the future is bright for us. And we just need to continue to keep doing what we're doing, and everything will work out the way that it's supposed to. And with that, I yield. Uh, Peace and love. Islam.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Noble. Thank you, Noble. True peace. Yeah, I'm glad you spoke on that because it's like I said, though sometime the room may be small, sometime it'll be two or three of us, sometime be six of us. But when we close out these replays, it be like 10, 15, 20 people come in and actually come back and really just listen. So we all planting seeds like the measure Noble Simone just gave. It truly is, speaking to what's going on. And number of beautiful things to come, like truly, truly, like Brother Noble Mo said, because the things that we are working on, we are the remnant, and it's good to see, like the prophets say, it's good to see that I have a few faithful Moors, which is talking about that remnant. And that is us that's here, what we're doing. That's what we're doing in this space, and we're going to continue to do it. And there's more to come, especially for the next season for us, as Branch Temple number 24 and what we will be doing, um, with our global projects. And seeing that they come to full fruition, as Noble Simone mentioned, you know, the fruit of your labor. And when you take that one step, the Most High, the universe is going to reflect back and also make a contribution towards what you're doing, and put things in alignment for the things that you're doing. And since we're following the divine wave, the divine principle, especially of what's to come, we're truly going to see very, very fruitful progressions toward these divine works that we're doing. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into this plea from the prophet, because I want us to see how what we touched on really circumvents, coming from the voice of the ancestors, and really reigns through time. And I'm glad we got the divine spirit speaking through Noble Simone, as well as my brother here, Noble Raheem Muhammad. And let's jump into it. The prophet says, Our divine and national movement stands for the specific grand principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I, the prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors, members, and the American citizens to help me in my great uplifting acts of uplifting fallen humanity among the Asiatic race and nation. For I have suffered much and severely in the past through misunderstanding of what the movement was dedicated to. It is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic of the United States of America. That's why I'm calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work. For without a free national name, without a descent flag of your forefathers, there is not the national divine title of the government in which we live. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American citizens and foreign, American and foreign synthesizers. So, hold on, I think I probably pulled up the wrong one. Let me see. But that is a good little recovery for the prophet. But I don't think that's the one I was actually trying to read, y'all, because we trying to get it woken up here. Hold on. Let me make sure I get to the right one, because I wanted to show that the messages of the prophet is really still ringing through us without us even really going over all of the literature. Okay, I'm sorry. This is the correct one. The prophet speaks to the nation, not the plea to the nation. The prophet spoke to the nation. But that was still a great, literary from the prophet. But nonetheless, the prophet said, if you have race pride and love your race, join the Moorish Science Temple of America and become a part of this divine movement. Then you will have power to redeem your race, because you will know who you are and your forefathers were. Because where there is unity, there is strength. Together we stand, divided we fall. Come, good people, because I, the prophet, sent to redeem this nation from mental slavery, which you have now, need every one of you who think that your condition can be better. This is an open field to strong men and women to uplift the nation and take your place in the affairs of men. If the Europeans and other nations are helping me, why not you? It is your problem. The Negro problem is being solved only as it can, and that is by the Moorish National Divine Movement. If you have a nation, you must have a free national name in order to be recognized by this nation as an American citizen. This is what was meant when it says, seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all these things will be added unto you. So everything we said tonight, it really touches on that, those words the prophet spoke, and I'm showing this in correlation to what we just said tonight, because the fact stands out. Like I said last week, or I don't know if it was last week or the week before that, the last holy day, but these are not scripted measures that we're doing here. I'm not coming here with a scripted showcase or anything like that, or presentation. This is literally, y'all get a chance to sit with someone and channel the ancestors, do question and answer, ask questions, especially about the nationality, especially about the processes and procedures that you need to go through to proclaim your nationality and come link yourself with the family of nations. As you can see, Noble Simone has touched clearly and everything that she made a point about tonight. The prophet spoke through this message to us as a nation. Everything from the fruit of our labor to actually doing the divine works and getting active, and even including the identity portion and what we are to do with what the prophet called the Negro problem, or what they were calling back during the prophet's day the Negro problem. And like I said, a lot of these temples, a lot of these body politics of the Moorish Science Temple of America, they're not coming together to give you the fundamentals. Um, and we understand, just the same way we touched on earlier, where there's confusion, there's not the spirit of the Most High. And all of the confusion outside of this particular space that does give you the fundamentals coming from the prophet as best as we can, and making sure that the works that we're doing is exactly what the prophet wanted us to do, even down to the fact that we have, smart city projects and, economics for the temple. And what I touched on last week, we're doing our economic structure the way it is supposed to go according to the everlasting gospel and that divine law and those divine principles and divine creeds, because you all have the opportunity to invest in temple pledges, temple bonds. The resources for what we're putting in place is numerous, even to the point to where when we start to take action and putting our boots on the ground, similar to, like I said last week, the Jehovah Witnesses and how they come together in their congregation to build a temple. Well, we're challenging the Moors for the divine and national movement to come together and start building your own communities, start building your own cities. We need to have real people with real credentials. Our people cannot continue to survive on this misconstrued patriotism information, this sovereign citizenship structure that, it really ingrains a lot of people in the movement, to where we're not coming together as one unified body, to where we're creating free national standards that could be utilized throughout the whole entire movement. And as the prophet said, one temple, one prophet, one prophet, one temple. And these things were called for long ago, as the prophet mentioned, and a lot of this had to deal with finances, the reason why the prophet couldn't get things together. But in this day and time, where the Moors of the Moorish Science Temple of America have their own currencies, their own world currencies, and prophecies have been fulfilled, for them through this particular branch temple number 24, and our works by, going and meeting our brothers and sisters. As the prophet said, a lot of the brothers and sisters that are great Moors, most of them are in the church. And, with us going to meet our brothers and sisters on the square, wherever they may be, whether it's, through the nights, or whether the your local builders who are called masons in this day and time. And so, with us understanding that we have the divine order, we have the divine tools that are mentioned also so uniquely in the the Circle Seven Quran, Holy Quran. We got to get on the ball. We have the call, you have the tools. You either use the tool or you lose the tool, as we like to say. And I really do appreciate with Simone for really coming through, waking it up, because like I said, we don't read these literatures all the way through, because it's not enough hours in a day. We only got 24, but we touch on what we can as we can, by letting the divine spirit channel through us, and what we need to leave behind for that week. And so, this is why I say don't skip through these meetings, don't skip through these temple services. You want to listen to the whole replay, listen to everything. That way you don't miss the juice. Even down to the wire. Like two holy days ago, we had an elder come in, um, and really speak on some things, because a lot of us don't have, our grandmas and grandparents that we can go to and ask them questions about who we are and what we are as a people, and really, get to the nitty gritty of, understanding who you are, as well as, just not having the temples. So for those of you, I'm gonna do a real quick reset. For those of you that need a temple home, you can go ahead and click that gray block of words. If you're coming in, somehow you made your way in here, and you stumbled upon this temple space in this room on Clubhouse, go ahead and click that gray block of words. Go ahead and join us. We are branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. We are a global branch temple of the Moorish Science Temple of America, chartered and incorporated, and we're teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed. Come link yourself with the family of nations. Just as simple as clicking that gray block of words that says World Temple and joining us. Um, Become a guest member of the congregation. I'm gonna put up the Patreon link later on after we go through some of this literature here, and um and I uh I go through how to join us with the link that's above, which we're gonna go into that now. So if you follow that link that's at the top that says Civics 101, which is our free civics course that we have and we offer through the temple, so you can really learn the process and procedure of being a Moor, the discipline that it requires. Because I mentioned last week, and you can go back and listen to that in the replay for verification, that you're not becoming a Moor, you're born a Moor. You have to be reborn again in the spirit by the divine spirit and that holy water and that holy breath. And this is why we have that holy shahada, which allows you to be reborn again and go through that rebirth and that ceremony and redeem yourself without money, as it says in the book of Matthew. You are here to redeem yourself without money. This is not about money. So nationality, to proclaim your nationality or pronounce your nationality, is free, brothers and sisters. You got to understand that. So if anybody's charging you anything, the only thing you should be paying for is your temple tax and temple dues. That's it. And if they don't understand the theocracy, which is a political status that you're falling under, not as a democracy or a republican, you are under the theocracy, the political status of God. And the different churches, the different mosques and things like that, they're not going to touch on this. This is why the prophet was honored for the works that he did by showing us that we are a family, a holy family of nations, a family of nations through what they call the which is public law in this country. And so if you are able to stand on the Bible as law in this country, and that's going to forever be the foundation, as this country was ordained by way of the holy scriptures, then you are always going to have a political status to stand on, especially with the supreme treaties and the laws of the land. And it's up to us to develop our own systems and understand. If you click on that link above, like I said, the first thing that comes up is you're going to see the description of the civics education, which is a study of our theoretical, political, and practical aspects of citizenship with its rights and its duties. And it includes, the study of civil law, civil code, and the study of government, and the attention of, the different roles for world citizens, as opposed to just the factors of how your government operates. So one of the main things you're going to learn about is civic virtues, which is the cultivation of the habits or customs of a people. And the main people we're going to be, teaching from the standpoint of is the indigenous people, the global body politic of the Moors. And I, say it again, a global body politic. Moors are a global indigenous people, melanated people. Majority of most indigenous people are truly melanated. So we have to understand that, you know, that particular science of things. And this is documented history, world history. And the other principle that we go over here is civic engagement, which is how we come together to address these issues, sort of like, what's going on with Brother Kyrie and Brother Kanye West, which we'll go, a little bit into more after this, and then we'll go into the literature from the prophet. But to get that understanding, this is how we come together and we address things, whether laws that have been changed or laws that need to be changed, economic principles that need to be put in place. This is where we come together, and we are in the best time, like I said earlier, because especially now with the technology,
We're not all doom and gloom. We don't preach doom and gloom, though we are in a revelation, in a great revealing, which reveals a great transitioning that, that includes a little bit of, brimstone and hellfire. So, you do have to take that into account. But where there is a rain shower or a hellfire storm, there is a cleansing, and you will be baptized by that great fire and that great brimstone. So, this is to replenish. We're in a great replenishing. They are calling it a great reset, and we want to understand it is great times that we're in, especially those who are of the divine spirit and all of the holy family of the divine. And come link yourself with the family of nations. I'm gonna go through these holy instructions on how you can come get involved. And like I said, listen to every part. You don't want to miss anything because it's a lot of information. And understand the structure, especially for those that are looking to become ministers and adepts. The way that we're presenting this is so you'll get used to presenting this information to other prospects and potential members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and also your potential congregation in the future if you so choose to become a grand sheik or a divine minister of your own branch temple, which we can help you charter through our branch temple number 24. So with that, we're going to dive into these holy instructions, which says, Friday is the holy day, O ye who knew. When the call is proclaimed to supplication on Friday, the day of assembly, hasten earnestly to the remembrance of the Heavenly Father and Divine Mother, and leave off business and traffic. That is best for you if you but knew. And when prayer is finished, then may ye disperse through the land and seek the bounty of God and celebrate the praises of God of 10, and without stint, that ye may prosper. All chaplaincy, temple services, and meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 and love, true peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday the first man was formed in flesh. And on a Friday the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause Friday is our holy day for all Muslims and peacemakers all over the world. According to Act 2 of the Divine Constitution and Bylaws by the Prophet Noble Joe Ali, which states in conjunction um, with the law that I just cited, stating all temples and subordinate temples are to conduct holy day service every Friday, starting promptly at their respective time and ending promptly at their respective time. All civilians, patrons, denizens, prospects, and ministers are expected to attend the temple for the Friday holy day temple service and meeting. On Fridays, the Moorish Americans, Moorish Asians, and Moorish African Muslims and peacemakers all come together to supplicate and to illustrate that which Allah has blessed them with. The meetings and temple services are to open according to divine love, true peace, freedom, and justice. At no time will templars, adepts, ministers, patrons, or outside congregational guests be allowed to disrupt the holy day service, nor will civilians be admitted under the influence of alcohol or any severe intoxicants. All civilians attending the holy day service must have their heads covered with either a turban, fez, or kufi, or spiritual covering. Baseball caps should not be worn in the temple. The Sunday school meeting is mandatory, and all Moorish nationals and temple denizens must promptly attend their meeting and send their children to Sunday school, and the teacher must conform himself and herself to the Temple 101 questionnaire, and let every civilian man, woman, and child exercise his or her five senses, who is able to do so, because out from your Sunday school comes the guiders of the nation, and now the entire global village. According to Act 5 of the additional bylaws by the noble prophet Drew Ali, every subordinate temple should have 2 Sunday school meetings held. The first meeting should be held 1 to 2 hours before the adult service. Children's Sunday school should be conducted by the directors of the Children's Sunday School and programs. The Sunday school meeting is designed to assist the members in learning the Temple 101's questionnaire and developing an understanding of just what these holy keys mean and how they are to be applied to our everyday lives. The Divine Constitution and Bylaws, along with the Moorish prayer and Holy Covenant of the Asiatic nation, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Qur'aan, and our civic lessons of the Holy Temple of Moorish Science are also subjects of major concern for the student who is trying to complete his or her mandatory requirements for pronouncing their temple civilianship and global nationality. All lessons for adult Sunday school classes must be prepared by the Grand Sheik as the Divine Minister or the Assistant Grand Sheik. Lessons called by us Novites edition may be submitted to the students for completion and returned to the temple. Once the lessons are completed and graded, they must be placed in the active members' temple district file. There go that word active. The Sunday school temple service and meeting is a wonderful opportunity to study the liturgy, the liturgy, the the liturgy teachings of the prophet. No civilian is to become disruptive during the Sunday meeting. All templars must bring paper and pen to the temple service and meeting, along with the basic temple literature and assignments. No templars or patron is to eat food or other snacks during the temple service or meeting, but water is permitted. All templars must attend their Sunday temple service and meetings as diligently as they attend their holy day temple service and meeting. Both were called out for by the noble prophet Ali and is required as a matter of law. According to the Divine Constitution, Act 7 in part, all Templars must promptly attend their temple services and meetings and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and now also Moorish Science Temple of Africa and Moorish Science Temple of Asia, and adjoining world islands on behalf of all indigenous peoples. For membership, all heads of temples of any temple jurisdiction are not to charge for naturalization or to overcharge for cards, buttons, or anything issued by and through the prophet. Those who contribute to any of the proceedings are not Moors, civilians, or patrons, but robbers. Temple nationality and membership in the Holy Temple's vast estate, or what we call a public beneficiary trust, sisters and brothers, kin and kinfolk, is free, not only here, but all over the world. All kin and kinfolk desiring to become a civilian of a subordinate temple must read the messages coming from their temple secretary and download or access their application for naturalization. The temple secretary helps all newcomers by explaining the naturalization application for membership of the temple's vast estate, or our what we call the public beneficiary trust, to the new prospective civilian of the temple's vast estate, and arranging for him or her to be consulted by the royal council of said temple or subordinate temple. The royal chairman or woman will set the date for the new temple prospect to be interviewed by the royal council. The new temple court civilian, upon completion of the royal council's consultation at the newcomers' gathering, the new templars will proclaim their temple nationality at the next upcoming holy day meeting. After the new civilian prospect proclaims his or her nationality, they will be given the mandatory requirements necessary to earn their free national name and royal title of nobility as a true American royal. These requirements are as follows, and in accordance with chapter 47 of the Moorish Circle 7 Holy Qur'an, called Egypt the capital dominion empire of Africa, the Moorish prayer, chapter 25 of the Moorish Qur'an, the Holy Covenant of the Asiatic Nation, and the 101 Quran questions for Moorish Americans, Asians, and Africans, the Divine Constitution and bylaws, and the additional laws from El's Holy Torah, El's Holy Injiyl, El's Holy Quran, and the Holy Tabernacle Family Guide, and also the Holy Tablets, through our Civics 101 course and our Global School District and Sacred Halls of Learning for everyone of the global village. Once a new civilian or template has learned these lessons verbatim, he or she will be interviewed by the Royal Council as the chaplaincy to determine if the new civilian is qualified to represent himself or herself as a faithful Moorish American, Moorish African, or Moorish Asian, Muslim, or any indigenous peacemaker, and communicated to the ignorant for their instructions, and communicated to the wise for thine own improvement. Once the new civilian or template has cleared the mandatory requirements with the Royal Council, he or she will be naturalized by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister of the said subordinate temple. And those are our holy instructions for coming and getting involved. So if you are looking to proclaim your nationality, you want to, make sure you understood that particular segment that we have every week on Friday and Sunday, because I go over this every Friday, every Sunday on how to proclaim or pronounce your nationality. And next I will be going into this last little bit of information about taking up your holy shahada, which is the proclamation of your nationality, and pronouncing your nationality, which is held on holy day for all civilians, denizens, temple peacemakers, or Muslims all over the world. And during the ceremony, the new civilian or templars will be ordained in El, Bey, or Day, and given his or her royal peerage title of kin, honorable, lady, noble, nin, naya, prince, or princess by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, and also receive his or her nationality card and button from our Divine Minister of the Grand Major Temple. And upon conclusion of the nationality proclamations, the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister will have the civilian, template, and temple prospect stand while he or she reads the authority that I mentioned earlier of the Moorish Science Temple of America. It is by virtue of this document that can be found in Herod's revised statute that gives the Moorish Science Temple of America, Asia, and Africa the authority to restore the nationality and birthrights of the lost Asiatics of America, Asia, Africa, and all world islands, and give them the title to their vast estate and their heritage. The Grand Sheik and Divine Minister is to read from the card and have the new national state, Allah is God, and Noble Drew Ali, the Prophet. And I am Moorish American, African, or Asian, and or world islander. This is our Moorish clarification of faith or Shahada and our national pledge of allegiance. The new civilian or templates free national name should then be added to the temple's books of life as they enroll in the Civics 101 course, which you can click the link that's pinned up to the top. And as I'm reading this catalog about page, you can also go through the syllabus as well. If you're reading along, you can go ahead and click enroll, or should be join us, and it'll take you to the enroll page to enroll. So the nationality ceremony should be conducted by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister, or any other Divine Minister so designated by the Grand Sheik and Divine Minister in his or her time of absence, and most notably by the Assistant Grand Sheik and Divine Minister. The nationality card and naturalization application must be signed on the back, bearing the name and title of the Divine Minister who issued the card and the date of its issuance. The Religious Corporation Act has deemed the Global School District and the Incorporated and Chartered Moorish Science Temple of America, Africa, and Asia as a religious trust and theocratic government established in 1928 on August 20th by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And this religious trust is the true global trusteeship system for the Holy Family of Nations, forming a global nucleus. So, that's the standard procedure, and we can wake it up y'all a little bit. Y'all got any feedback on this whole Kanye West and Kyrie Irving thing real quick? Y'all want to touch on that? You go ahead, Simone. If you're saying something, I can't hear you. I just see you on muting your mic. I'll give you some time to reset. I'm gonna step back real quick. Peace, brother Jonathan. Y'all bring brother Jonathan up real quick.
Greetings, y'all. Thank you.
I don't really watch TV too much, so I don't really know what happened with Kanye. I know that he was talking about his brand, and I think it was Adidas that was going on to sell his brand without his consent.
sound really low there. I don't know if your speaker is far away from you or not.
Yeah,
I'm,
we're definitely in the matrix.
okay, now I
Yeah,
can hear you.
I was listening
You
to
can hear me now.
Lawiy and another gentleman in the Newocracy radio, and there was so many glitches. It was crazy.
Yeah, definitely. I think that there's a GPS of sound, just like we have a GPS of life. I think there might be a GPS of sound. When you're speaking something good, definitely have the haters watching, listening, and laugh.
Oh man, that's bad.
But I was just saying, like the Kanye West thing. I don't watch TV very much, so I don't really know what's going on.
Right, right. I'm with you. Everything I know is coming through like basically social media, Instagram and just other stuff people pass along.
They're trying to sell his brand without his consent. He has a brand, and they're taking his name off. That's all I know.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, that part. But I know I caught some of the things where he was, really talking about the whole so-called anti-Semitic thing where cause the fact that he mentioned, um, black Latinos and Asiatic people we're Jews. We are the original Jews. Indigenous people are the original Jews. So they've been really having him in the media a lot because of his statements, as well as the other situations. But I think it's mainly because of those interviews and what he was saying, and they tried to claim he was, you know, uh, preaching anti-Semiticism. So that's one of the main things. And then brother Kyrie is also in the news for the same thing. But I'm only getting information from social media. I'm not really too much looking at any like TV or anything. I did see one like YouTube video that he did, and the whole Twitter situation with him getting back on Twitter and linking up with Elon Musk. But that's probably about as much as I didn't actually really watch. If there's any other current events y'all want to discuss, we can too as well. We just don't have to talk about brother Kanye or brother Irvin. I just wanted to open it up for the current events because that's just what we're supposed to do, and making sure that we do touch on the things that are actually going on out here in the world, especially with the currency and economics and just um, things that are happening around the who's who in the world. But
I
I know.
don't know what you were talking about as far as like the Asiatic. I looked up the definition of Asiatic, and Africa was not included.
Well, yeah, yeah. Well, is that like coming from a more modern?
Well, I just want to have a better understanding because I hear Asiatic a lot, and I just want you to kind of build on the
Okay.
seed of Asiatic, the etymology of Asiatic, because I hear it often in the readings. You know what I mean? The Asiatic descendants and whatnot.
Right, right. Well, the word Asiatic goes back to the definition of Oriental. What was the definition that you pulled up? What did they say? Let's let's take it from there. You got a reference link or anything? No.
Yeah, let me pull it up. Hold on. says relating to or derived from Asia. Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Would Mongolians be part of that, like as a later generation?
Well, okay, so I just want to say that Asia's not too far. Hold on. Asia's not too far from Africa, and I don't know as much as you guys know, but I heard this one thing where they were saying that like warriors or ninjas, you couldn't be a ninja unless you had like African blood or whatever. So it just kind of like makes like I saw the correlation, and then I'm learning a lot here. So I've heard the mention of Asiatic descendants and how they've migrated during like Pangea.
Correct.
America was a lot closer to Asia, and I was watching documentaries of the Native Americans and how the Native Americans and the Pacificers were, or they resembled the features of the Asiatics. And so that was my question. Like, what is your definition of an Asiatic? Like, what is your reference? Because I hear it often in the text that you read.
Let's. I just put the link to the Wikipedia in there so we can have this fundamental base point. But on Wikipedia it says Asia is one of the world's most notable geographical regions, which is considered a continent in its own right, or a subcontinent of Eurasia, and we're gonna go into that, which shares the continental landmass of Afro-Eurasia with Africa. Asia covers an area of 44 million square kilometers, just about. It says the continent, which has long been home to the majority of the human population, was the site of many of the first civilizations. So when we talk about the first civilizations, we're talking about Africa and Eurasia, which is still where the word Europe is actually named after a African princess called Europa. Are you familiar with that? And I don't know if you say anything,
Is
because I'm reading.
Europa is the Eurasia and Europa like is based on the same African queen? Is that
Yeah, just like she's saying, with you couldn't be a ninja or anything like that unless you had indigenous or black blood. So the only thing that really separates Asia and Africa is what's called the Suez Canal. And before that, that treaty line or that demarcation line, that was all one landmass known as Asia, or sometimes what they call MU for Mu. So what I'm trying to do right now is pull up some references uh, for the for the word, or just the history, because um, like I said earlier, at certain points the whole planet was called Asia, and trying to see if we could find some source reference websites that talk about it. But that concept is coming from uh, the fact of what they use when they say Eurasia, and Africa, Asia, and Europe
it's all connected, like, all in one. Let me see. I guess this is coming from some rapper. But they're going. I guess this is coming from the. Let me see. I think this is coming from the 5%ers background.
While
Or
you're
not
looking that up,
5%ers, Wu
I'm
Tang
looking
Clan.
at the map, and what I see is Africa, and then I see the Middle East, and then I see India, and then I see like China. So Asia, like where does Asia begin? You know what I mean? How is the Asiatics included in the African diaspora? You know what I mean?
Well, because all of that is still considered Africa too. Or like we read earlier, before the demarcation line, that was considered a Maxim.
Okay.
So, and where we at is considered,
But India is pretty big in
yeah, yeah,
between Africa and China.
yeah. Because if you take it backwards, they called the so-called Middle East Mesopotamia, and
Right.
then, um, even before then, all of that was called Ethiopia, and or like I just said earlier, a Maxim. But the term for over there is you have Lemuria, you have Mu, you have Atlantis, and then you whether you want to call it Aframorica or Africa or whatever, um, or Nubia in some instances. Uh, globally it was considered Ethiops. So, um, which they use under the word Ethiopia today, uh, for its actual true definition for the word Aethiops, which they say means burnt faces, but it actually meant ether or etherical people. So, the Asiatics means those of the East, essentially down through just philosophical history and documented history. And so when we say the Far East or the Sacred East, you're usually referring to people of Africa or people of the first civilizations, like we was just reading, or you can look at in the Wikipedia. All of the first civilizations are considered under, um, under the Asiatic or Asia continent, and the continent itself wasn't looked at as something separate because from basically what you said, um, we as African people, we travel throughout the whole entire planet, but um, you had Ganawa, which they would call the Garden of Eden, or Ghana, which was the actual true name, and then you had the land of Mu, which is what Asia is actually, what is actually is today, and then where we at, that would be Atlantis, here in America, from all the way down to South America, or to even, or at that time down to Spain, and from Spain you would have Ganawa, all the way over to, not the canal, but all the way over to up there with Russia and all of that, or the Philippines, and the I think it's the Guinea, the island. Um, all of that's considered the land of Mu, and uh, a little bit of Lumeria, which ties, um, all of like the the like Canada and all the way up to Antarctica and all of that. So, but we uh we had different names throughout time, but mainly Mu or Africa, and you would have to kind of look this up in like old texts, old books. I think I got some I could probably find uh to get to you, but the land of Mu is actually what that is called, and as a whole is considered like I said Asia, because at one point it became just Asia, which just means Oriental, or the first civilizations, the originals, the Orientals. They call themselves Orientals in Asia because it means the Orient, which means the people of the sun. So they call it East Asia, or the Orient, like the original, or like the core, or whatever term you want to kind of take it back to. But um the word uh Japan goes back to the word Nippon, which actually means Nubian, or the people of the sun. So a lot of these symbolisms, if you look at it, it's all based on the symbol of the sun, or the sun people. So um and even if you look at the word Afumorica, you still have the word mu in there, and mu was also a city in Africa, uh, under the country of Salam. So Salam was the landmass, or the country, and then Mu was an actual city in Africa, as well as the name for uh the whole landmass of Asia. And then India would have been considered Hindustan, and before Hindustan, Kushtan, because like I said, all of this was called Ethiopia, or what we call Kush. So all of that, all the way up to India, all the way up to Asia, like I said, it was originally Africa, or originally Kush, Kushtan, or Kushtan, or however you want to say it, Kushitic land. So Mu is just another way of saying Kush in other aspects, because Mu means light. Like today it means one, but um, it just means light. So the word Kush could kind of be made in correspondence as well, because it just means the light people, or colored people, or black people, whatever you want to term it as. Because the word Kush itself means black. So we we got book references that I have to like really go back into my bag and pull it up for you and send it to you. But let me see. Yeah, it just means like sacred east. They don't really like giving uh the true definition. But when we
A
say the
region.
east, huh?
No, I was saying that I understand it's more like a region. When I do my studies, I definitely hear, references for the West and then references toward the East. So that kind of clears it up. It's a regional thing.
Yeah, and philosophical as well, because like I said, um the sacred knowledge, or what they call the sacred wisdom of the east, that's basically what it refers to, and that's referring to all of the you know all of the cultures that come out of Africa, Asia, and Europe. So that would include Mesopotamia and all of that as well.
all your shaman information, Buddha and all of that, Egyptian teachings, all Confucianism, Israel, Hinduism, all of that's considered, or Shinto and Taoism, or Zoroastrianism, all of that's considered the wisdom of the East. So even when you talk about Egypt, you're still talking about the wisdom of the East, or Israel and the Judaism, all of that's considered, and Baha'ism, all that's considered the the sacred wisdom of the East in philosophical terms. So
Of the sacred wisdom. It seems like the East had the knowledge first, and then they were able to expand and they found the new world, the free world, and they just mimicked the practices of the East, pretty much. The East
yeah,
manifested the West. And
right, and
now
it's
the
referenced
West
in the Bible.
is dominating. Because think about, I was just watching a video on Africa and how they feel about African Americans. And it's just
Hmm.
it's, they say that, there's not a big difference between us, but our they said the biggest difference between us is the moral code. They said that they don't really, have a lot of boyfriends, and Westerners have a lot of boyfriends and have a lot of, sex outside of marriage. And so the Eastern
Yep.
principles is, I guess, what differentiates the West.
Yeah, because it go back to, like I say, scriptural principles as well. The sun rises in the east and sets in the west, right? But the prophecy is kind of
So
what
if
you.
it sets in the West, it falls in the, yeah, I mean, so it
Mhm.
rises, which is the beginning. That makes complete sense. It rises in the east and sets in the west.
And then, like
It's
what you
birth.
said, with the West dominating the world now, that's also political, not political, but scriptural prophecy as well. Because, like it said, unto the east, so shall the Son of Man be unto the west. So
It seems
that
like
talks
the west
about
is
the.
like the seed. It's the child. The west is the child of the
Yes,
east.
yes, the Son of Man. So now, in this day and time, um, us wise ones, us Atlanteans, children of Atlantis, will be rising in our knowledge and our wisdom the same way and with the same sacred wisdom of the East. And uh, as it says, or as the prophecy goes, the sun will rise in the west and set in the east, because now that sacred Eastern wisdom will be coming from us here in the west, from that remnant of people, which is, pretty much us. And having, these type of discussions, and just going into that divine information. And it's crazy you talked about it, because most people don't even, think to bring these type of things, bring them up. But you hit the nail on the coffin. So we are that great, sun people today. um as it's described, we'll pretty much be born with the wisdom of the East embedded in us. And we understand the sacred principles, so we don't act like everybody here in the West. And that's why we're called Asiatics, because um we don't pretty much, you know live the way Westerners live. We live like we're Easterners. Even down to, like, cultures that were brought up here in the West, like Wu-Tang and all of that, certain hip hop, pioneers, and all the stuff that they was bringing in the early beginning, and just, the stuff that we was bringing out with the knowledge, the wisdom, understanding. So the whole culture, like, even like I was saying, that some of the 5%ers, uh, kind of brought that information to the light as well. But that's pretty much what that is. And then that's what the whole hip hop generation is kind of the seed for. But you can see what it's turning into today with where they're trying to have our minds distracted toward. But you definitely hit a great point. Um, I really do appreciate that question. Like we said earlier, we planting seeds, we leaving seeds for other people to come and pick up that that they can tune into.
I
But I just
recently,
wanted to make sure
I
we
recently found out
go
something.
ahead.
I
No,
recently
go ahead,
found out
Jonathan.
that Tupac was yeah, I was saying I recently found out that Tupac is like one of those things that you don't really hear people talk about for sure. It's not like really part of the headlines because it ain't publicity, but it's just interesting because that's like I think that's where he got his range and his view, and I think that can be the same with teaching or history lessons and all that. It's like there's
Yeah, that's most
the real
definitely facts because
information that can
two
help to make get some confirm it and make something use of it. So it's like we can unify it so and minds and history is what it is. It's like the Mongolians and that kind of like the predecessors before that came,
Your phone is breaking up.
create that agricultural
you're in the matrix, John.
society that is now.
You got a bad signal.
Alright, I'm gonna let it go.
Yeah, he was in the majors. But I don't know if y'all could hear him too good, but I know I could. Uh, but you're definitely on point because brother Shakur was actually a Panther. I don't know if y'all can hear me because I'm getting that red bar. Okay. Yeah, brother, you definitely touched on something because brother Shakur, he was a Panther, and that's one of the things that the Panther stood on is some of the sacred wisdom of the East. Actually utilizing the symbolism of the Panther, which is also symbolism for Jesus himself, coming from our ancient African philosophy. So yeah, we uh, we definitely on point with some things here. Uh, but like I say, I open up this particular time so that way we can make sure that we just touch it on current events and things that are on the minds of the people um as well. So like I said, if y'all want to touch on
Right.
anything about what's going on in the news right now, feel free uh ask questions or just uh lay whatever concerns you have on the table. So right.
I know that was it Conroy, his dad from the animated TV series passed away. This is something I read today. Or one day.
You might have to go to another area, Jonathan, because your signal sound like you in the matrix. Sound like you under a matrix attack. Well, while you do that, Jonathan, I'm gonna go ahead and switch this link in the room, y'all. So for give y'all a little second to go ahead and grab it while you can. Um, and then I'll do a reset after Brother Jonathan or anyone else that want to make a contribution real quick for what's going on today in the current event of things. And I'm about to pin this link to our Patreon. That way you can join us for less than a coffee. And we're gonna touch on that when I go into the literature for tonight. But go ahead. Somebody unmuted. I can't see.
True peace, true peace.
True peace, Noble Mo. True peace.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a contribution on current events. The thing of what Kanye and Kyrie. My thing is this. I mean, I don't say things that I know that's going to offend people or to cause problems. I don't think that that's what Kyrie's point was intended. It was just more of education and enlightening people that may not be aware of certain information. But how is it possible for somebody who is Asiatic or African cultural background, how could they be anti-Semitic? You know what I'm saying? So to me, that doesn't even make sense.
Right,
That's
right,
all.
right.
That's all I wanted to constantly,
I'm with you.
as far as
Yeah,
the
we definitely
controversial and
don't.
everything.
I'm with you. We definitely don't need to be, playing around with the levels of controversy in these days of time, and drawing unneeded attention. From that aspect, I definitely understand. A lot of these brothers that do have the power of influence with them at the current moment, they don't really bring that influence to spaces such as here. But they love to talk about, um, they love to talk about being Moors, or or just the ancient people, or they give you information that clearly comes from the Moorish Science Temple of America, or one of these temples that are connected to the Moorish Science Temple of America, or even some of the Hebrew information that our Hebrew brothers have in the Ohel, which is the temple. So either way it goes, it's a part of the Ohel, or the Bat, and whether they're calling it the house or the temple, is the same thing. But we all a part of and all connected to the divine temple, and we are that temple. The you know the understanding is clear. So, but we really gotta kind of wake it up on the nationality thing, because you know they're bringing it to the forefront, and then we have a lot of influences, especially Moorish American influences on Instagram and other social media platforms that get thousands of views, thousands of likes. But you know sad to say, a lot of them get involved with those movements that have our people still rogue. There's no real grand body of things, and we don't understand true principles of economics and how to come together in an economical forefront. And the things that we're doing here really, really, really changes that narrative. I'm glad we're touching on that. I wanted to add a little bit myself personally about this whole quantum financial thing that keep going around, and just let y'all know, be careful, because they come up with new buzzwords all the time. And for especially you, brother Raheem, you've been a witness of the works I've done over the years, and brother Jonathan, you got a chance to see the evolution. I think you got a lot see a lot more of the evolution, more than anybody here in the space right now. So you know, because they got the quantum financial system going on out here, and using that as a buzzword, and they all trying to make it seem as if they're not using blockchain technology, and that's actually what they're doing. And we've already had quantum computers and supercomputers, and they're just upgrading, especially from the teachings that we got and we're blessed to have, uh, coming from, a great divine scholar, and not just ghetto scholarship. We coming from somebody that did this work professionally and showed us the example of how to set, the professional structure as the prophet called out for himself. And so, we have to understand that Elijah did come, the honorable messenger, as well as the Nabi, the prophet, Noble Drew Ali, and the reformer, which will appear as the Mahdi again in this day and time, um, and really give us that information that's needed. Even though the master teacher did say that, there's uh, another brother that can be considered El Mahdi, but um, when it comes to the divine works that the master teacher done here, as the as the prophecies say, the Son of Man will, rise in the west. That that has been shown, and what we're continuing to do here with this particular temple and the branch temple number 24, and what we bring to the forefront, we're gonna keep coming, and like I said, we're gonna have a blessed fruition. A lot of people don't get this close to proximity of great power, and we do have that great power. We do have great opportunity, and we want to spread this message out to the people and make sure they come in and proclaim their nationality. We actually had I don't know why it didn't count brother Jay that just came in the room, but we actually had 9 people come through. Say 8 people came, but I just seen brother come through, unless he was already here in the room already, and they just didn't count him. But we actually had 8 people come through, and I'm sure we're gonna have more people come back and listen to the replays. For whatever problem, that that comes up, or other events. Some people, doing whatever they do, but we understand. It's prevalent that we be here in this mental reservoir, in this divine space, and be in alignment with the divine, day that we have upon us, and the time that we have upon us from the window of time that we do open up. I really just understand that time and space that we take out here by coming together and being 2 or 3 or more gathered in the name. And you know once y'all, for those that are adepts, y'all start getting more into that school, man, y'all gonna see that this is really divine work we doing, especially if you understand the science of nature and the natural science that has been brought to us as a people by the master teacher, and really woke us up to the things that are not really taught to the average so-called minority on a regular basis. We have access to really high science information, and very prestigious information that probably is only taught in Yale and Harvard, and then let alone even given to us in a right knowledge, right wisdom, and to get to that right understanding of things kind of way. Because you know it's different when you're operating in the right knowledge and the right wisdom for the right understanding and overstanding, versus speculating on high value or high science information. And we got an opportunity to participate in it and develop it, and do things professionally, and create an economy of scale. And that's pretty much what we're doing here. So like I said, I see brighter things for every one of us. Everybody that really comes consistently and shows up consistently, which is the people you have here today in this particular space, and really chime in and listen. And things that we have in the works, y'all get ready, because it's about to really turn up. um we're gonna be doing things in real life, as they call on this app, IRL, in real life. We meet with each other in real life. Me and brother Mo have already had the opportunity, as well as me and Chief Neo, who comes through sometime, has already had that opportunity, and other people that's been on this particular app and space here in the temple clubhouse room. We got to do our IRLs already, but there'll be more of that coming, especially with the projects that we have under development and under construction at the current moment. But we are here every Friday, every Sunday, and also Monday through Thursday for those that decide to, uh, you know, decide to put something on the docket for Monday through Thursday. If you have some type of issue that you need to bring to the temple court, since we usually don't have issues and we still working on getting the website up, um, we, we'll put that under schedule for you. But other than that, we're gonna be, just making sure we here on our mandatory days, which is Friday and Sunday, and making sure that we are holding space for the Sunday school. So and the newcomers, so that way they could get involved, learn how to proclaim their nationality or pronounce their nationality, and really navigate the seas of life and the seas of commerce. So like I said earlier, you know, you got a lot of temples that don't give people the foundation that they need, and we try to make sure as best as we can to get the people the foundation that we need. And we're also going to be incorporate some things me and Noble Simone has went over. I'm glad she's here because I didn't, I don't think I brought it up on the past two holy days, far as what me and you discussed. But I did mention that you know we're gonna be actually implementing some real live spiritual things for the nationality part and portion and ceremony, because you know the noble Simone brought it to my recollection that we really have to change our spiritual frequency in order for us to really understand how to really you know embody that nationality proclamation, and that status change, which is a political status change, which I went over so simply and gracefully earlier today in today's temple service. So if you understand that we are a global theocracy, and I'll mention it one more time, we are a global theocracy that is considered a political status, not under a democracy or republic. We are a global theocracy under the political status of our spiritual laws and customs. And at this point, we have took that structure of the global theocracy, and in our own laws and customs in this particular branch temple, we have attached on the global nucracy structure, which means it is a global spiritual custom based on divine mind and divine nature, and the divine mind of divine nature. So this affirms the fact that we have a true theocracy as a global nucracy, and we are a global political system by having our own nucratic world committees and things like that, and body politics across the world, not just here, and actually having temples that are erected across the world that are connected to us in this particular branch temple number 24 of the Moorish Science Temple of America. So um to kind of give y'all some insight of what me and Noble Simone talked about, we really have to understand that we have to tune up our frequencies, and that's what we're going to do. Normally I do have meditation music playing in the background, um which I will be getting back to that as soon as possible. But that's one of the things that we really have to touch on and really make prevalent, especially when we do these ceremonies, because some of these ceremonies eventually will be in IRL, in real life, but we will still be hosting the holy days on this particular app, and utilizing the power of social audio networking. And we really truly see where it is going, and we're gonna make it a habit to stay um to stay utilizing these future innovative technologies that are coming about. So this gives us a chance to meet up, especially when we're spread so far apart, and being a globally branched temple. If they don't come in on if they don't come in on the actual buildings that we're pretty much getting ready to start developing, they will still be able to participate here on the social audio app, and really you know really you know be a participant in what we're doing, and just being a part of the actual physical uh is one thing, but maintaining that global reach by being on the social networking app to where we can talk to people in Africa, Asia, and just pretty much all over the world. Because you have people from India that come in, you have people from Africa that come in, you have people from Europe that come in, and they come in and they make contributions. We actually had somebody from India come in last week, which was beautiful. So we look forward to those events, especially with just being able to tune people up, get them tuned up like a tuna fish, and making sure their frequencies and their chakras are in alignment, and understand that that healing and that status change really comes with a frequency change, because for people to really be in tune with the higher frequencies, with the divine, they really have to understand how to be tuned up in their frequencies. So I'm glad I was able to touch on that, and have Noble Simone here with me. If you want to add anything, you can. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and jump to this literature for tonight, for our closing. Go ahead, Noble.
True peace, everybody. True peace.
Okay. That's Noble Idris.
Yeah.
Peace to the gods.
So, I saw, you mentioned theocracy, and so two things come to mind in the question of clarity. So, theocracy, does that have would that have our association as a quote being acknowledged or recognized, in part accepting the theocracy title as a religious organization or a religious governing body?
Yes,
And
sir. That's
then,
right.
and then, okay. And then that then answers then my next question regarding theocracy and the root of the prefix of the word theos or theo, which we know is a term dealing with, that measure or regarding deity or God. So
Right. So you want to wake it up a little bit for him?
we can. I got a little
Cause
bit of time. I'm about to get on the court below the whistle, but go ahead.
okay, yeah. I'm glad you did make some time and space. Most High must have made sure we got this here, because this is gonna be some good juice, especially the point you just made. So from the basic aspect, from what we understand, Theo goes back to God, but from how we understand it through the mystery schools, uh, and this being one of those mystery schools or temples of the mystery school, however you want to look at it, we understand that that's making reference to the African goddess Mother Theris, right? More so than us just having a theory, which is also the root word for Theo, and a guessing, or just um a ghost like uh a ghost like character that is being described as God. So we want you to really understand that far as the indigenous people, they really do make reference to the actual people where a lot of these words come from. So this is one of the major points that kind of gets brought up, because theorist is actually the root for the word theorem and or theo. And the theocracy for us is making reference to the fact that we are under the divine law of the most high and the divine creator, as well as the divine father and mother, and the mother being, in this case in point, the divine goddess, um Mother Theorist. So the question about the theocracy is, like I said, the fact all the time, the fact is that we are under that great that great mother tribe, and that would be, the different names that we give to the mother, whether it's Nehasag or Ninasag or Ninti or Neat or Noon or whatever title or description we can make reference to, or you would like to make reference to, when it comes to the great mother. And like I say, we all are under that umbrella. um but I wanted them to kind of hear some perspective from you on it, if you want to go in. I just want to lay down that base, that base point, so people will really understand that, when we say theocracy, is not just referring to, who the Europeans consider the ghost like figure or a creator, or a god.
I think
That's
it I think it ties in what's triggering in me right now, or what's responding to me is the thin line of discernment and the adaptability in the modern times we're in, and then our overstanding when it comes to language, right? Because for one, we speaking in this monotone, dead language, as it's being called, right? This German language, and that already has we are great and awesome. So, we can regulate tone. We understand that. But this language, when I heard my beloved master teacher and guide speaking in the ancient tongue and it sounded like music, but he was reciting a verse, that's how I understood where you speak in tone and in rhythm, because we are walking melodies. You know what I'm saying? So this dead language don't got no tone and rhythm. We do that through hip hop, R&B, and things like that in our expression because we're dope as fuck. You feel me? But what I'm saying is, in this measurement regarding that language, right? And we talk about these terms that we're accepting in our modern day time of words and communication that we use, such as theocracy and so forth. And in our right knowledge, which is correct information and information, we know that origin in the regards of the word theory or theo or theocracy, or you feel me, any of those democracy, and so forth, we understand those. So what resounds in me is when we take our rightful, right, standing, our rightful stance on the square, right, the circle and the square, right, when we take that rightfully, right, and we strip away his shit. No, nigga, we don't want your titles. Cause when we know what it is for what it is and what it correctly and rightfully is, then my question is say, well, why would we compromise? You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. If that is that, and that's regarding and then the origin of it is coming from a source in opposition, right? Then, and we know who we are. We're ancient Kemites. We're ancient Atlanteans. We're Rinskins. We're Lumerians. Come on, you feel me? All them ancient titles of tribes and bloodlines through which the timelines we've evolved or still are here. You feel what I'm saying? So that's kind of the thing that sparks me when it comes to these terms. I understand it, but that I'm in a phase. You feel me? We all in some phases. I'm in a phase of stripping away, you know what I mean? That dead weight, that death, which is part of that transformation with the information. You feel me? So, I'm sharing that feedback with y'all. I didn't want to get too turned because I got to get in here and get ready to blow this whistle for a couple hours on the court. You feel me? So I can't
nah,
connect like I would like to, but I
I
land.
appreciate you, bro, for making that contribution. That's why I laid down the basis of the mother theories, because um they'll they'll normally get the word, like you said, theory from theos, and playing the guessing game. But you got to remember also the word theorem, which is what they got from us, Pythagoras theorem. Even Pythagoras, being Pythagoras, from the mystery school, which is a name that we gave Pythagoras coming over to from Europe to Egypt, and coming to the mystery school. So even a lot of their languages is still coming from the Ionian or Etruscan peoples, which are indigenous African peoples, um, that got their knowledge also from the original origin in the mystery schools. So that leaves them, like you said, the dead portions, uh, to the wayside, and it's more so definitions than anything. Um, because like we,
Right.
like we understand is we actually give birth through a lot with our ether, like you mentioned. We give tonality to this language, but we also got to remember that English is not just the product of the European either, because that language is actually a derivative of what what they call the so-called Indo-European languages. And so when you look at that term Indo-European, um, you know, that's just another word that the so-called Caucasian, or the so-called European use to tie himself also into the vine, because the Indo people are still a part of the branch, being the fact that Hindustan was Kushtan, and we actually just touched on that earlier too as well. And then Europe being named after an African queen named Europa. So that so-called English language or Yinglish language is still a derivative of the Moors, in that Moorish Latin, Kufic Latin, that is the mother language for the English tongue. So there wouldn't even be no English if it wasn't for the Kufic, um, the Kufic Latin. And we got to dive deep into the history of this British nobility that we know actually comes from the Moorish titles of nobility. So we really do have a lot of more control over the language than we think we do. It's just that it's been hidden off, and we've been given dead definitions. Um, and I'll give the perfect example, because I touched on it a little bit earlier when we was mentioning Ethiopia, and I kept having to use the word, but of course, me, I'm picking up the frequencies in the asshole. We have to understand that Ethiopia is actually, like they say in Greek, is Aethiops, right? And the definition for them for Aethiops means burnt faces. I'm gonna leave a link in the chat for that.
And I'm gonna share with you when I get to the crib after I get done reffing. I'm gonna take a picture of this language wheel, which is only half a wheel. It's only half a circle at that. And it's the Indo-European roots, wheel, in the back of the American Heritage Dictionary I have at the house, third edition. I'm gonna take a picture of it at the very back and send it to you just to share that visual, and you can see the varying quote so-called languages, at least from their sharing in that wheel, in that half a wheel. And you're not gonna see really any of our languages. You're not, because that's what I was looking for, that we are aware of and know about.
Right. I'm with you, because they don't want us to know, us. So that's why we're left with a bunch of the dead definitions. Because as the master teacher said, it's a definitionary, not a dictionary, right? It's not a
Yeah. It can be a place of dictation because it's created by a usage panel, which in the at least in the American Heritage definition area, I really like that one. Um, and when you read the structure of its build and all of these dang people that make up this usage panel that determine the varying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quote like definitions. You know, the word will have multiple usages in expressing its quote meaning.
Right, right.
apart from its etymological or its Indo-European root meaning. You know what I mean?
Look, and let me throw this on top of the so we can wake it up on them some more. If we take it like the master teacher said it, it's a definitionary because you're really just giving definitions of what the words mean. So
Right.
the dictionary should more so be the understanding that um this is a reference to all of the languages because that's what diction really means, or tongues. So like you got the Nubic, you got the Arabic, you got the Kufic, and those are dictions, all the way back to even including the mother languages, because we got the scroll, the first language, so we know the origins of the tree of all of the languages, right? So we can take that tree and actually make a true dictionary and make references to all these languages and dictions that or lisangs, mother tongues, that actually are part of the tree. And so when they say dictionary, it should actually be a reference to that tree, you know, which includes 3,000 dialects that have passed and are gone extinct, because you got all of the Native American tongues and um, all of the indigenous tongues across the world that have gone extinct, that we don't even dive into because of the geographical references of the tongue, and just understanding that that tree of the languages. But within that tree, we only touch on the major dialects or the major languages, mother languages that came about. We don't go into like all of the 3,000 plus languages that have been around since those times. So I think that's something that for those that'll be continuous listen to the knowledge and wisdom we drop. That's something you want to probably get started on yourself as a project, or just keep in mind, and the wisdom of when the master teachers say they gave us a definitionary, and when they say dictionary, it should be actually making references to languages, and the definitions, the meaning of words should actually be called like as we say, a definitionary. But I appreciate you, Noble. Unless you want to chime in some more, I know you got to run. I put the
I think
link in the
I
chat
think
for
Idris
everybody too.
actually did have to. I think he took off. I don't know if he's in the room anymore. No, I was thinking about the east and the west and the agriculturalists and the herders, and how things kind of seem like they flip flop on themselves over the centuries or years, where you'll see a story one way, but it's in a reverse fashion on a micro scale versus a macro scale. Um, and I don't know if that's just because of like, there's only so many stories you can tell, and there's all these different types of variations of we've written down the histories. But like what I'm getting from this is that Africa had a bunch of different languages from all these different tribes living in the present, in the now, in the cosmic, and that's like you could say that would be like the yin, and then you have these societies based on the agriculturalism, and you can even say that was like the herders, the earth, just living off land, and then you have the agriculturalists and those building the cities as this kind of like yang form, which the meet your counterparts, that's how we got to here now, and we're here and now still participating in these ebbs and flows of development. And that's where building happens, is usually in those paradoxical moments. So I have a strong, being here, I read a book back in 2007, and that opened me up to sound, and it's called Music as Yoga. And that opened me up to sound, and from there, that opened me up to a bunch of different, things that are right in front of our faces. It's a cult or ministry, churches. There's layers, but usually it's a shallow form based on what needs to happen is one, respecting the elders who have the depth within them and have been doing the best to live up to that, and then two is bringing that knowledge together in a peaceful manner now that we're with the clouds, which is what we're here to do. That's why we're here. Yeah. I don't know if you can hear me.
Oh, okay. I was on mute. I'm talking the whole time. No, I was saying I'm glad you woke it up with that because that brings it back 360 what we was talking about as far as with like I said, what me and Noble Simone was making reference to, what should be incorporated into the nationality ceremony, because that's really how you tune people into their changing uh of their way of life to something that is actually sound and more healthy for them. So I really appreciate you touching on that part, because that is our end goal with like we kind of took it deeper with the theocracy part, because we're getting in tune with the ancestors, and that's also a frequency thing. um Especially the different hymns and the music, especially talking about the Egyptian thing. They play frequencies at the 432 hertz, and understood the power and the impact of sound and the frequency, as well as just doing the ceremony, and how we go about doing the ceremony. So it'll be a lot more that we cover when it comes to the ceremony, because since, like I said, we are doing things on the social audio app, people could do their ceremonies wherever they are. And once we do have the actual physical temples, we'll still be having the audio app going from the physical temple. That way, when we do the lectures, people actually be able to chime in and actually listen to us from the app. And we'll really be communicating still from from the platform and on the platform, with those that'll be live listening to us, and you guys get to still chime in and still participate with us, live on this social media app, because social audio networking app, because they do have it to where we could really incorporate live sound, which is what I appreciate. So this is gonna be a game changer, like I said, and like I knew from the day we got on here. And I really look forward to us, just being being a beacon of light to the people globally, which we are, and we're standing out. But we want to wake it up with our presentation, and I'm glad Sister Simone, Nova Simone, brought that to the forefront. But with that, y'all, we're gonna go into this literature, and we're gonna close out for the night, because it's getting around that time, and I don't want to hold y'all all night. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and go into these last parts of the literature, and we're gonna close it out with the divine prayer. And I really do appreciate y'all making the contributions today, and just leaving some leaving something beautiful for the people that's gonna come back, listen to the replays, to chew on. And y'all be here next week, next Friday, and also Wales this Sunday. And we also gonna have Family Day tomorrow. I'll be ready for Family Day. We didn't record the past two Family Days because you know we didn't have nobody come to the meeting, but I'll be there. I'll be waiting, and y'all enjoy the rest of y'all holy day. Happy holy day. And I'm gonna get into these divine warnings. This is to be proclaimed by the ministers and the adepts at every temple service from the prophet Islam. The prophet says, "I'm glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. There's a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people of our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation, as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me in the movement will be remembered. That is why I am calling upon all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present. so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. The nations of the world will not recognize the movement without me, the prophet, being head. It has been proven by my works, which I have performed in the past few years. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. All right, all right, all right. So with that, y'all can help the prophet by clicking that link that's pinned up there to the top of the room. And I really do appreciate the members here already that's making contributions. Like the prophet say, your contribution, not just monetarily, but spiritually, will be remembered. And like I said, we leaving seeds, we leaving behind divine records of the work that we doing. People get to come back. They see you in the space, they see you doing the work, especially in the school. That's like a portfolio for yourself. That you went through the lessons, that the knowledge, that you're a communicator of the knowledge. You have the ability to respond to the knowledge, which is the reason for having the blogs or the essay assignments for each part of these editions that we call lessons in the temple. So especially if you're an adept or a minister, you get a great load of sacred wisdom coming from the mystery school that me and brother Idris touched on a bit there for a second, and really go into some things. So with that, I'm gonna go into the last warning from the prophet that's to be read in every temple service and meeting. The prophet says, I hereby inform all members that they must end all radical speeches while at work, in their homes, or on the streets. We are for peace and not destruction. Stop flashing your card at Europeans. It causes confusion. Remember, your card is for your salvation. Failure to obey these orders will be of severe consequence. We are for love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And when these principles are violated, justice must then take its course. Any member or group of members who hold malicious feelings toward the temple or the prophet, or violate the divine covenant of the Moorish movement, will receive their reward from Allah for their unjust deeds. All true Moors will and must obey the law as laid down to them by their prophet. If they lose confidence in their prophet, they should turn in their card and button, cease wearing their turban and fez, and return to the state where I, the prophet, found you. This is a holy and divine movement founded by the prophet Noble Drew Ali, and if the prophet is not right, the temple is not right. The prophet therefore is sending out the divine plea to all Moorish Americans that they do their part in protecting their prophet and the temple. This is an everlasting movement founded by the prophet through the will of Allah to redeem his people from their sinful ways. True peace. Noble Drew Ali. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Before we go into this prayer and close it out, just wanted to read some of these prophecies and sayings that we really got much time to read, but I just wanted to make sure that go over some of these, this from week to week as well, because we need to understand the prophet was really speaking, toward the future of what we're doing. But this just is one thing I wanted to read real quick. The prophet said, if you don't leave here right with me this time, you won't make it back here in human form. And the prophet was basically speaking on people, getting in tune with this information, so that way, you'll be able to, tap into this higher frequency of knowledge and avoid the dharma. Avoid the karmas of reincarnation, and really be born again in a sense of your immortality, and understanding who you are, so that way whenever you do pass to and fro, you won't be having to remember who you are, as most people do when they born and don't really know that they've been here before. So one more thing I want y'all to understand. The prophet said, anytime a Muslim goes into a church for any reason, it ceases to be church and it is a temple. Woo. Y'all gotta understand how strong that one is, especially for our people that don't get why some of us like to deal with some of the church people still. Because wherever we go, it become a temple. Understand? The prophet also said, and this talk about, some things that we touched on tonight, which I wanted to touch, go ahead and get this real quick. It said, the prophet says, while I'm talking to you Moors, my spirit is over in India with them, and those old sisters are jumping this high. They were jumping as high as he was holding his hand because of my coming to them. So basically, he's saying that, while I'm here with y'all, my spirit is over there in the east. My spirit is in the east, y'all, like we touched on tonight. And being that Orient. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on those things real quick. Uh, the prophet also said Atlantis is going to rise again. The first temple of the new Moors is subordinate temple Atlantis. Not to say that this has anything to do with the ancient islands of Atlantis, just a point of observation. But you never know. Prophet might actually been referring to referring to Atlantis. So the prophet also said, imitate I the prophet, and he said, Moors leaders, live a life of love, so that you will be loved as I, the prophet, is loved. All right, y'all. With that, we're gonna go into this divine prayer. We're gonna close it out. I really do appreciate y'all, like I said, for coming through, spending this time with me on this holy day. And we're gonna close it out because it's going over our time, and we want to close promptly. So with that, y'all know how to go. For 5 fingers up, 2 fingers up, feet facing the east, feet at a 45-degree angle. We're gonna get into it. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day. Through his holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Amen. Why do y'all? One love.